What if the Israel-Palestine conflict, one of the longest-running and most contentious issues in modern history, could be resolved through good political will? Is it a far-fetched idea or a possibility? We're here to delve into that very question. This complex conflict has been a part of our world's narrative for generations, with deep-seated historical, religious, and political roots. It's a conflict that has seen moments of peace, overshadowed by periods of intense violence. Today, it stands at a critical juncture with potential ramifications not just for the region but for the entire globe. If not handled with care, sensitivity, and above all, a commitment to justice and human rights, this conflict could potentially escalate into a global crisis. And that's not a scenario anyone wants to see. Yet, amidst this complexity and potential for escalation, there have been moments in history where peace prevailed, where good political will shone through the darkness. Let's explore the moments in history where peace prevailed due to good political will. The year was 1993, and the world witnessed a glimmer of hope in the Israel-Palestine conflict known as the Oslo Accords. This historical agreement was a beacon of hope, a promise that Palestinian statehood was on the horizon. Negotiated in secret in Oslo, Norway, and signed with much fanfare at a public ceremony in Washington, D.C., it marked the first face-to-face agreement between the government of Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. The accords outlined a plan for progressive Israeli withdrawal from parts of the occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip, and the establishment of a temporary Palestinian government, the Palestinian Authority. This was to be a stepping stone towards complete Palestinian sovereignty. The world held its breath, daring to hope that this was the beginning of the end of decades of conflict. But the path to peace is rarely smooth. In 1995, the world was stunned by the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, a key architect of the Oslo Accords. His death was a heavy blow to the peace process, and it marked the start of a series of events that would slowly unravel the promise of the Oslo Accords. The building of Jewish settlements in the West Bank, despite being in direct violation of the Accords, continued unabated. These settlements, considered illegal under international law, only served to fuel the fire of conflict, creating more points of contention, more walls between the two peoples. The dream of a two-state solution, where Israel and Palestine could coexist side by side in peace, started to fade. The Oslo Accords, though short-lived, showed the world that peace is achievable through good political will. They stand as a reminder that even in the most entrenched conflicts, there is always a way forward, a path to peace. But it requires courage, compromise, and above all, the will to see it through. Fast forward to 2005, a significant year in the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict. Israel withdrew from Gaza. This year marked a strategic move, one that signaled a potential willingness for peace. Israel's decision to withdraw from Gaza was not a simple one, nor was it devoid of controversy. However, it was a step that many saw as a potential path towards resolution and peace. It was a move that, at least theoretically, gave the Palestinians more control over their destiny. But the reality on the ground was far from the theoretical. Despite Israel's withdrawal, Palestinians never gained full autonomy. This was largely due to the subsequent control of Gaza by Hamas. This militant organization, backed by a strong political wing, took control of Gaza and changed the trajectory of the conflict. Hamas's control over Gaza didn't come overnight. It was the result of a power vacuum that was left by the Palestinian Authority's corruption and ineptitude. The organization won the majority of seats in the Legislative Council in 2006, leading to their expulsion of Abbas's forces and taking control of Gaza in 2007. This marked the end of control over Gaza for Palestinians committed to the peace process. Hamas's control of Gaza was not just a political shift. It also marked a change in how the conflict was handled. Gaza, under Hamas, became a launchpad for attacks on Israeli civilians. The peace process was once again derailed, and the hope for a two-state solution seemed to slip further away. This turn of events was a stark reminder of the complexities of the Israel-Palestine conflict. It highlighted the delicate balance that needs to be maintained for peace to be possible and the volatile nature of the situation. It showed that the path to peace is not a straight line, but a winding road filled with obstacles. The Israeli withdrawal from Gaza was another testament to the potential of political will in the quest for peace. So, what can we learn from these historical moments of peace in the Israel-Palestine conflict? The key takeaway is that periods of peace and cooperation, have been achieved in the past, even amidst the deep-seated tensions and complex history that characterize this conflict. The Oslo Accords, for instance, were a beacon of hope, promising a path towards Palestinian statehood. The Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, however flawed, was another moment that demonstrated the potential for change. These moments, however, were not sustained. They unraveled due to a combination of factors, including political assassinations, the building of Jewish settlements, and the rise of Hamas, among others. But the fact that they existed at all, that there were periods of respite in this protracted conflict, shows us that peace is not an unreachable ideal. It is a possibility that can be achieved with the right political will and commitment to dialogue, compromise, and mutual respect. And this is not just about Israel and Palestine. The conflict has regional and global implications. The rise of Hamas, for instance, was in part a result of Israel's campaign against secular Palestinian groups. The international community has a stake in the resolution of this conflict, not just for the sake of peace in the Middle East, but to prevent the potential escalation of tensions into a larger global crisis. And so, we must remember that the actions of leaders, both local and international, can have far-reaching consequences. The decisions made by Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas have played significant roles in the current state of affairs, but they are not the sole actors in this drama. The international community, and indeed all of us, have a role to play in encouraging and supporting steps towards peace. While the path to peace is fraught with challenges, history shows us that good political will can indeed pave the way for resolution and harmony. It is a lesson that current and future leaders should not forget.